Hello, Reformers, and welcome back to Phantasy Calradia. Now, when we left off, we had just taken Sungetcher Castle from the Kingdom of Vaegirs, and now we are currently at Kudan, because, as you can see here, Boyar Doru was attempting to siege it, and a lot of our vassals turned up. So that was very pleasant of them, was it not? Yes, it was. So, yes, I'm actually very pleased by the fact that they decided to turn up and defend one of our fiefs, because usually I do not receive too much help. So I do have to do quite a few things myself, but thankfully enough, Mr. Ortracker was leading the charge here, and as many of you did suggest in the comments, I have indicted a couple of our vassals, and now we have a more, well, let's just say a more comfortable amount of vassals to deal with in terms of their relations and so forth. Now, we do have one issue, and that is when I went to Wercheg just a moment ago, I noticed that there were around 9 or maybe even 10 vassals that had defected to us and were ready for us to accept their pledge. Now, I did not want to tell them to go away, because then they would probably join our enemies, and that would be even worse. So I have just left them there for now, and I think maybe once we have, well, let's just say once we have taken a little bit more territory, I will see fit to take a larger garrison, or at least field a larger amount of vassals. So hopefully that will be the way it will roll, and at the moment we have 266 units against his 41, so that is wonderful. They will win that without any issue whatsoever, I think. So now we will head on to Nellai Castle, and yes, there we are. They've just won immediately right there. And, oh, it appears that we were able to take him prisoner as well. I was actually waiting at Kudan because there were, I believe, 4 vassals of the Vaegirs outside, and they were attempting to siege it, and I thought, well, let's just wait here, and if they are successful in their efforts to build a ladder, then we would, of course, start recording at that point, but it appears that they were not lucky enough to pull it off before our vassals intervened, so that is great. Well, at least now we have arrived at Nellai Castle, and we will give them a taste of their own medicine, and we are lucky enough to have it be a ladder castle as well, and that was very close. I actually thought that was Vaegir vassals running in to intercept me right there. I was very worried, actually, because they were doing it with reckless abandon. They were not even considering retreating right there. So, yes, if that was indeed a Vaegir vassal, which it was not, of course, it was the Blazing Hand, we would have had some mighty issues, perhaps. We do have a pretty large army, I must admit, so that is probably why I was so surprised. Usually they would not see fit to do something so audacious, but you never know. They may feel brave at one point or another, but let us, without further ado, attempt to do a lot of damage with our lightning bolts. And I didn't even actually check how many units they had stationed here. That is probably how overconfident I am. That is not too good, I must admit. I should really keep that in check a little bit more, because, as you know, overconfidence for me is usually a fatal flaw. So hopefully we will be okay to continue on here, and aha, we have a couple of archers over there. Let's take them out if I potentially can. Oh my goodness. Okay, come on. Yes, there we are. Hit the ground. That appears to be the only way I'm able to deal damage with this lightning bolt. Come on. One more. Ah, very, very slightly missed right there. And we're doing some damage to him, which is good. And we haven't taken him out yet? Goodness me. Oh, have we? Ah, I think it was probably taken out by one of our Blazing Hand Inquisitors. Alright, okay, so let us get our wizards in here now. We do need to get them to rain down death upon the stairs here. Come on, let's do it. Now, I must just mention, before we absolutely slaughter all of these enemies right here, that one of you did state that Umi has a two-handed, and why did I increase the one-handed proficiency? Well, that is probably due to the fact that she does have a two-handed, but she also has a one-handed and a shield, so I was basically just improving the one that I thought she would use the most, and if she was going to be using a two-handed, then I think she'd probably increase the proficiency rather considerably in a short space of time, because two-handed weapons, in my opinion, are a lot easier to use than one-handed, or at least it depends on the one-handed weapon. I think if the one-handed weapon is slow and pretty difficult to use, as maybe an axe might be, because it has a shorter reach, then you would probably have more difficulty leveling that up than you would a two-handed, when you can just wail on people. But, oh my, this is not good. We have a huge amount of enemy units behind here, but it appears that, thankfully enough, we are having some very unlimited mana right here, so we are able to completely destroy our enemy's forces. And hopefully we will have not lost too many units in the process as well, because I am now just envisaging that we have lost... Oh, okay, we've only lost 10. Okay, well, I was thinking that we were going to lose at least 20, but thankfully enough, we were lucky enough not to have that happen to us. Of course, we have lost quite a few Blazing Hand Inquisitors. The morale is absolutely incredible, very, very useful for us right here, and, ooh... This is a good idea. Okay, so this guy is a good personality. We will be letting him go. And, oh, okay, it appears that that was the only fellow in there. That was his castle, after all. As you can see, his name is Boyar Nellai, so we have taken that from him right now. And I will not be taking any of these prisoners, unfortunately, because we do have a full party because of our shadows. Maybe I should have placed those in the garrison at Wurchegg. That probably would have been a good idea, perhaps. I was not aware of how many prisoners they had here, though, so I suppose I can be forgiven a little bit. But, well, never mind. Okay, so as you may see, I did accept one of the vassal's allegiances, because, believe it or not, I was roaming around from Wurchegg and going towards Kudan, of course, because it just became under siege, and I saw this fellow that I had not seen before riding around on his horse, and it was Lord Raffard, and I had not remembered, or at least I don't believe I accepted an allegiance from him, so I decided to speak to him, and that's when it gave me the option to accept his allegiance. So I accepted his allegiance because I would prefer for him to stay with us rather than switch sides, of course. So, what are we going to do here? We are probably going to be giving this castle to Lady Mateld. She only has one castle and 2 villages. I think that's probably going to be the best thing to do, and as you can see, all of our relation is so much more manageable, as you can tell. We only have Lord Fruorin and Lord Raffard doing, well, not so well, so let us hopefully be able to see to that as time goes on. So, let's just see here, has anyone leveled up? Yes, Alithira leveled up, which is rather nice. Let's get some more Shadow Warriors as well. Now, as we know, in the previous episode, I believe we lost a Shadow Knight for basically no gain whatsoever, so I will be leveling up Shadow Wizards from now on, I believe, unless we have a huge chance of getting a huge amount of Shadow Knights. I do believe it might be a little bit of a waste to go for the Shadow Knights. So, what are we going to do here? I believe we probably want to increase her strength ever more, hopefully get her some more power draw in just a moment, but as it stands, I'd like to increase her athletics anyway, so that will be fine. Now, at the end of the previous episode, we did actually level up. Arkane leveled up, and as many of you have been suggesting to increase our trainer before Faith, I slightly decided against that. Not because it was an incorrect decision, but because we only had one more Faith point to go until we unlocked Heal. And so we have now 3 in Faith, and we are able to heal, or at least I haven't tested it out just yet, so hopefully when we raid Talbot Castle, which is just down here, we will be able to test it out, and then we will be increasing our trainer skill post-haste, because of course we are not taking full advantage of the huge amount of intelligence that we currently have. And that reminds me, we probably want to start increasing our intelligence once again, because even though agility is amazing for many things, such as riding skill for the Nightmare Horse, I think Trainer is probably going to be a lot more useful at this time, because really, do we really need to run on the battlefield very, very fast? Not particularly, so we can probably just leave it at our armored warg, I suppose, and this is a siege tower. Well, that is not very pleasant, is it? Okay, well, yes, okay, we are not going to be doing this just yet. I am going to be resting up because Ymira is wounded and she is not awarding us her engineering skill as she should be. So we will be resting for a little bit as a band of unholy knights arises. And, oh, it appears that Mr. Ortracker is having a feast in Curor, which is rather nice of him. Okay, so we're letting a couple of the Vaegir vassals head in here. I do not believe that will make too much difference in terms of our success. And I believe that will be enough to give us the engineering. Yes, it is. There we are. Very nice. We've just saved ourselves 12 hours, I suppose, but maybe the argument would have been we could have started the construction of the siege tower a lot earlier, so maybe it would have been a better idea to do that. But, it appears that the Realm of Shadows is doing an excellent job at taking some of the Vaegir vassals prisoner. As you could see just above there, Boyar Kumipa has just been taken prisoner as well, so that is great. Now, we are gaining the most from Sargoth. Aha, that is interesting. I would have thought that Wercheg would give us the most, but it appears not. I suppose all of those sieges way back when with the dwarves has diminished the riches and taxes and so forth that you would gain from Wercheg. So that is a little unfortunate. Sargoth has not been touched, I don't believe, since we did it. And oh my goodness, look at that! Lord Nadar has renounced his allegiance to the Kingdom of Nords and joined the Realm of Shadows. That is great. Very, very good news. Now, the only thing that I would consider accepting is a Dwarven vassal. Now, not entirely sure whether we have any at Wercheg. I didn't really stop to look because there were just so many that I was like, oh no, I'll leave this for another day, but yes, as you see here, look at this. Lord Galard has now renounced his allegiance to the Kingdom of Nords. There was another one as well prior to that, so very, very impressive indeed how much persuasiveness that we actually have over some of the other vassals in the land, but as it stands, I do not believe we can currently accommodate so many. So maybe I will check after this. We will head over to Wercheg if the Vaegir vassals do not see fit to retaliate and siege this particular castle, or Nellai castle, and we'll hopefully be able to check and see whether there are any dwarven vassals. Something tells me there probably aren't going to be any, because they're most likely all with the Delthasum Empire. Either the Delthasum Empire or something else, maybe the Ridus Majocracy, perhaps, because if it was me, I'd probably defect to the Ridus Majocracy, to be honest, because they have access to golems, of course, as many of you have stated in the comments, and they are excellent units. So, yes, if it was me, I would have done that, but I suppose the Delthasum Empire do have a rather large amount of territory under their control, so that would be logical to assume that's why they would do such a thing, so, Well, I suppose we do have to watch out for the Delthasum Empire declaring war against us, although it would be a little bit impractical for them to begin to siege our keeps and various towns from such a far distance, because of course they are all the way in the south of the map and we are all the way in the north, so yeah, I guess that's probably why I chose tactically to head up to the Kingdom of Nords and take them out first. So, oh, there's Umi. She has her cleaver at the ready. And where are the rest of our companions here? Well, I know Quiona's over there. She's moving the... Oh, no, she's actually there. Okay, who's that over there then? That must be another Drow unit. Okay, they look exactly the same. That is rather impressive. A Drow Acolyte. Aha, I see. Okay. Who is this? Dwarven Champion. Look at that helmet. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we do need to wait for 6 enemies, so I will cut away very shortly, and once we have entered their battlements, I will cut back. Okay, so we are just about to enter, and this is why we were having issues taking them down. As you can see, they are currently holding steadfast on top of a roof. But that will not save them from lightning bolts, as you can plainly see, and there we are. Our Blazing Hand Inquisitors were able to flame them to death once as well, so that is wonderful. Okay, so, yes, this fellow we are going to be taking prisoner, are we? He has a bad personality after all, so I will be taking him. I will continue along the same lines, and it appears we have had the chance to take this guy prisoner again as well. So I guess we'll get double the amounts of relation with him, as well as this fellow as well. There we are. Very, very good. We do have no space once again, unfortunately enough. But we can take a few pieces of loot, and then that will be that. So, what do we want to do here? We probably want to give this to Lord Raffard, because he has no fiefs as it stands, and I suppose Lord Fruorin will get the next one. As you may see here, he is -5. Everyone else is doing reasonably well, but I do need to have a little bit of a balancing act in the future. So that will be a little tricky, but it is a lot better to control now that we have indicted a couple of units. So that seems fine to me. So let's get our first Dark Mages in quite some time. Hopefully we'll be able to make them into liches in no time at all. And yes, there we are. We'll place them next to that lich over there. And then let's get some veteran mercenary mages as well. That is fine. So, Talbot Castle. We have Boyar Vlan off to the side there. Now, it appears that we have succeeded in eliminating all of the Vaegir's fiefs in the area, and as you can probably see, the Delthasum Empire is having a pretty bad time of it at the moment. Shariz, Dacuba, and Tolga, as well as Halmar, are the only towns they own. They used to own Amarad, Barrii, Bloody Cliff, and Ikamur, because they were my fiefs, of course. So, it appears that they are having quite a few issues with the Blazing Hand. Of course they are. The Blazing Hand are very powerful indeed. Their units are great. As you can probably tell, we are using them, so that's wonderful. Okay, well, let us head into Talbot Castle. We will wait here for some time, see whether anyone decides to siege this, and I would probably be in the mind where they will not be doing so. Aha, oh, okay, here we are. We actually have Lord Raffard travelling to Talbot Castle, as we see there, so now we can leave this without any issues whatsoever, as I have just noticed and reminded myself that we are out of food. So let us hopefully be able to head on back to Kudan as quickly as possible, hopefully not lose too many... Oh, okay, that is wonderful. Yes, hopefully not lose too many units, as well as morale. And we are going to be accepting this, I believe. That will give us some right to rule, which will be very nice indeed. And they will not see fit to retaliate against our newly conquered fiefs here. And I do not see if there are any other Vaegir fiefs. I do not believe there are. There are only Blazing Hand castles now. So we do not need to worry too much. Do we? It appears not. There we are. Very, very nice indeed. Okay, so we have theoretically eliminated the Vaegirs from the game. So that will be very nice indeed. So let us just head on to Kudan as quickly as we can, get some more food if it has been restocked. Yes, it has. Wonderful. Let's get some honey as well. Anything else here? And we could potentially sell most of these things too. So let's just sell all of this. And yeah, I think that should be fine. Now, the one problem I'm currently having is I would really love to get one of our companions to use the Maul of the Titans, but as you know, I was grooming Frudak to be able to use that in the beginning, but as we made him a vassal, we can no longer accomplish that feat, so that is a little bit of a shame, but I'm hoping that one of our other companions will be able to carry the torch, as it were. Maybe Umi will eventually be able to wield it. She has 17 in strength, so only 8 more levels. She is only level 10, so theoretically she might be able to get there. That would be wonderful. Okay, so before we end this episode off, I am going to be heading back to Wurchegg, because I would like to show you the incredible amounts of vassals that are waiting there for us to accept their vows of allegiance. And hopefully I will not lose too many units in the process on the way there. Goodness me. Okay, so, ooh, we were lucky enough not to lose any more, and behold, a huge amount of vassals. Oh yes. Okay, so let's just see here. Do we have any dwarves? Ooh, Lord Atis? I'm not entirely sure whether he is a dwarven vassal. I do not believe he is. That is the claimant for the Rodox, I believe? No, I do not believe this fellow is a dwarf. He seems the same height as me, doesn't he? Yes, he does. Okay. Lord Nadar and Harold, of course, and then we have Iria. I think these are mostly Nord units. Yes, Nord vassals. And this fellow, I believe, is a Vaegir, perhaps? I believe Lord Stamar is also a Swedian. Now there are a couple up here as well. Nord, and Nord. Okay, so it appears most of them are all Nords. I do not really want to take any more vassals on board at the moment, as I have stated. So hopefully, once we have expanded our territory more, I believe the next faction we will probably aim to do battle against is the Swedians? Maybe. And I'm actually really surprised that the Saranid Sultanate is still going, as you can see. Goodness me, wow. They were able to take Normarsh Castle, Sanuzk Castle, and this castle over here, which I will not attempt to pronounce, but yes. Weya Castle and Anuzdak Castle as well, so they have survived by a whisker, basically. Now, the Khergits are also surviving as well, it appears. Yes, they own Nara and Distar Castle, so it appears everything is going off here. The only faction, I believe, that has not been touched so far is the Rodox and the Ridus Majocracy. So, we may actually need to do battle with them sooner rather than later, perhaps. Well, nevertheless, I will end this episode off here. I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.